Okay. Good morning, Carlos. Good morning, Gabriela. Carol. Gabriel. Sorry. Okay, let me check. I need to set up this CPT thing, which has a lot of pages today. So give me 1 second. I'm preparing the lesson. Okay, student book, lesson B, active English, and workbook, lesson B, reading and writing. And writing matter. Okay, 1 second. It's loading really, really slowly. There we go. Okay, that one is done. And what else is here? Blackboard. Here it is. Okay. There we go. Very well. Okay. Let's begin. No? Check this thing. Okay. Share screen. There we go. Okay. Finally, we're ready to begin. Okay. So let's start. Check CPT. And we have student book, pages 28 to 29. 28, 29. And for the student book, we have pages 12 and 13, I believe. 13, 12. And for the appendages, let me see if they have a page number 219 and 218. Pretty far away from the main pages. Sorry. So let's get started, okay? Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so let's begin with pages 28 and 29. Page 28, sorry. Page 28, active English. Try it out. It says in here, work in pairs, and look at the 3 job ads, sorry. List 3 skills or qualities needed for each job. Obviously not in pairs because we have this whole COVID thing. We're still in isolation, we're still at home, but we're going to be doing it by ourselves, no? Like each one of us. Each one do their own, like the saying goes. So, it says in here, au pair wanted this summer. Au pair, let's see what does that mean or what it is, okay? It says in here, our 2 children need looking after this summer. Must be reliable, willing, and patient. Free accommodation and meals with weekly pay. What kind of job is it? I'm not going to say it. I'm pretty sure most of you must have guessed by the description. The title is not very revealing, but the description is: our two children need looking after. A job not really common in here in Mexico, but really, really, really common in the US. Okay. So, what kind of job is it? We don't know. We're going to be looking at that in a moment. Okay. Part-time shop assistant. Enthusiastic person needed for an evening and weekend work. Easy, simple. Enthusiastic person needed for an evening, needed for evening, sorry, and weekend work. Something pretty doable by students, okay? Or people who are just starting in the work field and don't have a lot of experience. And last one, and I would suggest by experience to stay away from this one. Don't even touch it with a 10-foot stick. Don't get close to it. Don't try to do it. Whatever you do, just don't. I can tell you that by experience. Call center operators. That's one of the worst jobs in the world. Can you get people to buy insurance? Full-time position with flex time training will be given. Yeah, sure, the training lasts maybe 1 or 2 hours and it's pretty much telling you what to do in case you freak out. And you're going to freak out at some point because people are awful when you're dealing with customer service. So try to make people buy an insurance or do whatever. It's not going to be nice. I mean, you're going to be paid. It's not going to be the best pay rate of the best paycheck in the world, but at least you will get something. You will be wishing you weren't born with this kind of job, and I'm telling you that honestly. But that's the way it is, okay? So let's begin. You're going to be doing this in your notebook. Write the title of each one of these. If you want, you can change the name of this uh, of this one, of the first one. Au pair, you can put a name like that's kind of a fancy or pretty much how do I say it? It's kind of a fancy, kind of a pretty weird name for the job because we all know the real name. You can write the common name. It's valid and all right, but no one even says it that way. You can write the real name of it, like the most common name, and write 3 skills, like it says it here, needed for that kind of job. This one, then 3 for this one, and 3 for this last one. Okay, you're going to have it's 9:10 right now. Let's say 3 minutes. So it's now 4 minutes. So you can have a little bit more time. So it's 9:10, 21. At 9:14, 21, we're going to be checking what have you been doing, okay? So please begin. We're going to check in a moment.
Disculpe, profe, acabo de entrar. Lo que pidió fue que hicieran un escrito de 3 habilidades, por así decirlo, bueno, características que deben tener para esos 3 trabajos.
3 habilidades que deben de tener para cada trabajo, José. 3 para el primero, 3 para el segundo y 3 para el tercero. Está fácil.
Ok, bueno, gracias.
Okay, so 9:14, we're going to be asking, okay? So please keep writing. Is everything. Okay, 9:14. Let's check what you have done. Just give me 1 second. First one, for this offer wanted this summer. I'm going to be asking in the order I can see you on the screen. No? If you haven't finished either the second or third job, you can be doing so while we ask questions for the first student, okay? First one is going to be Carol. Again, this is the order I have you listed on the screen. Zoom automatically sets you up this way. It's not something I'm doing myself. Like I'm going to put this student first, then this other one, and then this last one. It's something done automatically by the computer, okay? So first one is going to be Carol, next one Gabriela, and last one is going to be Jose, okay? So Carol, what skills have you listed for the first job?
Be nice with kids, be patient, and be on time.
Very well. Perfectly well answered, Gabriel. I mean, sorry, perfectly well answered, Carol. I was thinking out loud of Gabriela because she's going to be doing the next one. Sorry. So those are three very valid skills for this kind of job. What kind of job is it? Like, honestly, what's the real name of this job, Carol? What do you think this job is?
A babysitter.
A babysitter, exactly. Again, perfectly well answered. That's pretty much the name. It's just like, I don't know. Oh, here's an example. I'm going to switch back in Spanish and a bit to tell you about this. We have one of those little boxes, like where you can just pretty much store a bar of soap. Soap box, I think they're called. I don't remember. To be honest, I don't remember the name in English because I never use the word. To be honest, I never get to use the word. I think that's how they're called. Like a little box, plastic. You just put your soap in it and store it. Soap box or whatever the name it is. In Spanish, it will be jabonera, obviously, and it is a Spanish. It is a Spanish speaking company, or it is sold in Mexico. So the name should be in Spanish, and most of the products are going to be like jabonera, jabonera, caja para jabón, or whatever. But not this one. Instead of saying jabonera or caja para jabón or whatever, it says, and it says it in English, snapbacks. And you just look at it and it says snapbacks, and you're like, that's pretty high end for a box that you're going to be using in your bathroom to store soap. So whatever, people tend to do that to be kind of sometimes even annoying, but that's the way people are. They really like to name things in a fancy way or in a different way or whatever. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything, but sometimes it can be a little bit obnoxious. So next one, and thank you, Carol. Part-time shop assistant. What kind of skills do you need to be a part-time shop assistant, Gabriela?
Ability to persuade other people, communication skills like spoken, and know how to do calculations.
Very well, perfectly well answered, Gabriela. Knowing how to do calculations for a shop assistant or shop clerk or any other person doing business. That's probably the most important skill you're going to need. Besides dealing with people, okay? How to treat people nicely, and where they're being obnoxious or annoying, be very patient to not be telling them to get away or to get out or whatever. I'm not going to say it in the words it should be said because we're in class. Sometimes you just need to tell people to get the hell out of your way when they're being annoying, but you can't do that when you're dealing with people at your job. So doing calculations because you're going to be selling stuff and you can't be bad at math in this. If you're bad at math, consider another line of work because this one is going to pretty much screw you. I'm saying this with all due respect, okay? You can be a clerk, you can be a cashier, you can be anything without knowing math in at least a decent way. Yeah, I mean, whatever the cash register is going to do most of the work, and sometimes you're even going to be having a calculator at hand and everything. Not always. So remember that, okay? Thank you, Gabriela. And last one, call center operator. Worst job in the world. What are the skills to work in this in this kind of job, Jose?
Enthusiasm, communication skills, and patience.
Lots of patience. Thank you, Jose. I have told you sometimes, I believe, I worked doing translations over the phone, and this was pretty much the same as a call center operator, but to make things worse, you had to know both languages, like English and Spanish. You needed a lot of skill for that one, a lot. You need to know both languages perfectly well, both spoken, sorry, and written. You need to be really, 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 really patient. And most important, besides knowing the language, was that you need to be fast. Like really, really fast. Like El Prisa's fast. People tended to just tell you stuff, and when you are relying information for someone else to translate, usually you use small chunks of information, like one sentence, maybe two sentences at best, and you give them time to translate them. Most people don't care. Most people won't respect that deal. They will just give you huge chunks of information, sometimes whole paragraphs. Hell, I even had some people give me like whole texts, and they weren't nice and slow. They were just really, really fast. Like you will talk with someone on the street or at your home without making any kind of pause, anything. You need to write that down in a special writing system that allows you to write like really fast. You had to develop that by yourself because no one was going to teach you that. You need to have a lot of memory, like really good memory. And so on and so on and so on. It was really exasperating, really desperate. Really, really, I don't even have words to describe it. Just stay away from it, okay? And lesson B, I just had like flashbacks. I still have like flashbacks whenever I remember that word. Like people, like those people in memes when they go to war and have been in, I don't know, whatever war, and sometimes they're just like staring at the distance and they're having flashbacks of war scenes and so on. That's pretty much what happens to me sometimes. Not to that kind of severe level, to just like look at the distance and have a flashback and just lose it, but similar, no? In a more tame way. Let's call it like that. So lesson B, exercise B, writing. We have this in here, says, read the Unit 2 writing model in the appendix and answer these questions. This one is pages 200 something. These are just pictures, 218 and 219, okay? Writing models. Okay, let's see what it says here. Questions. Which job is the person applying for? Number 2, what is the person currently doing? 3, what kind of work experience does he have? Is it relevant? And number 4, how suitable is the person? Would you interview him for the job? Okay, let's see. Let's move on to page 219 and let's find out. Unit 1, an opinion paragraph. This one is for what? This one is for another lesson. Unit 2, a cover letter. Because what? Because it says unit 1 in here, an opinion paragraph. And unit 2, we're in unit 2 right now, a cover letter. This is the one we're looking for. So let's read it, okay? Let's give it a read. I'm going to give you, okay, first question. Can you read this, okay, in your device? Carol, Gabriela, and Jose, can you read it, okay, in your device? Is the letter from is it a good size letter? Is your screen displaying it properly? Is Zoom displaying it properly? Because I don't know, sometimes it just kind of blurs out. So can you read it? That will be my question. Can you read this text from your phone or your computer, Carol?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Carol. Gabriela?
Yes.
And Jose?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Gabriela and Jose. So please give it a read. We're going to have a few minutes, again, 3 minutes to read it. It's 9:27 right now, so 9:30. Give it a read and we're going to be answering some questions in a moment, okay? So please start reading. Okay, it's 9:30 right now. Okay, for Sheridan, we were reading this text in silence, okay? It's page 219. The other pages we're working right now with are pages 28 and 29, and we're going to be working with pages 12 and 13 in a moment, okay? So, I dropped it. Oh, sorry. Okay, there we go. So, let's go back to pages 28 and 29, and there's nothing else in here, just the text, okay? Go back, page 28. Which job is the person applying for? What is the person currently doing? What kind of work experience does he have? Is it relevant? How suitable is the person? Will you interview him for the job? These questions, you're going to be answering them in your notebook, obviously, either that or in a blank piece of paper, a paper sheet. I say sheet. Be very careful with this sheet. It happened to me before while I was working doing translations. I said a paper sheet as a translation of a piece of paper, obviously. I never said paper sheet after that time because the word sheet, which means hoja, is very easy. It's very easy to confuse it with shed. I'm saying this as a reference, not as a bad word. Sheet and shed. So be very, 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 very careful with that. Don't make the same mistake as I did, because the person on the phone freaked out when I said paper sheet. They were really thinking I was saying another thing, okay? So be careful with that. And again, this one is going to be done as part of your homework, okay? And let's move on. Exercise C, it says choose one of the other two jobs in A and write a cover letter for the position. What is a cover letter? First question, what is it? Anyone knows what a cover letter is? No one? Check this out. A cover letter is basically pretty much a letter asking someone or telling someone that you need a job they're offering. You're pretty much asking them for a job. That's pretty much what a cover letter is. It says that you need to write a cover letter for one of those positions. We're not going to be doing that exercise because it will be repetitive. It will be pretty much doing the same over and over and over and over again. So exercise C, please ignore it for the moment, okay? Let's check this out instead. It says, read the academic skill box. What in the world is the academic skill box? This thing. This is the academic skill box. It has some indications in here. We want to be watching them in a moment. Then decide which of these questions are closed and which are open, red C or O, close, open. Academic skill, closed questions, need a yes or no. It's the same as in Spanish when we say preguntas cerradas, ¿no? Sí, no o no sé. A lo mucho sí, no y no sé si llegase a venir. O no dice, por ejemplo. An open questions is the same as preguntas abiertas, obviously it's the same translation. An example of an open question will be, what is your name, for example? It has to be an open question, like mandatory. It cannot have a yes or no answer, or an option, like it cannot say like all the names in the world and all the last names and all the second last names and so on and so on. So it will be impossible. I mean, maybe, just maybe, it will be kind of doable, but it wouldn't be something feasible. It wouldn't be something nice. Just imagine it. It has a lot of, you have one simple question. What's your name? And then you have pages and pages and pages, like a word, like a book this thick, full of possible answers. Who the hell actually goes over so many pages to answer one question? No one. So it wouldn't be feasible, okay? So, can you come for an interview on Monday? Is it a closed or is it an open question? What kind of question is it? Anyone wants to participate?
It's closed.
It's closed, exactly, Carol. Why? Because it just asks you if you can come for an interview on Monday. You can answer yes or no. Yes, I can go. No, I can't because I have a COVID or whatever. Easy, simple. Thank you, Carol. Number two, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Closed or open question?
Open.
Open, perfectly well answered, Gabriel. Why? Because you can answer yes or no. I mean, you can, maybe you can answer that, but you will need to be like pretty distracted or pretty high to actually answer something like that for such a question, okay? So that will be an open question. This is a question I'm going to be asking all of you. Do you still do open question exams or tests? Has any of your teachers made you an open question exam? Carol, have you ever had an open question exam?
Yes.
They're pretty difficult sometimes, aren't they?
Yes.
Depending on the subject and depending on the teacher, because sometimes, I mean, let's be honest, if it is a really easy subject, I don't know, like Spanish, spelling, grammar, and so on, they're pretty easy. I mean, for me, and I think most people, it is a pretty easy subject. Not for everyone. Sometimes people have trouble with spelling and with other things. But in general, Spanish is an easy subject. But what happens with math? An open question in math, like solve the equation, I mean, 2x plus 3y equals 25, for example. And you need to do that equation. You need to do a lot of math, a lot of calculations, and so on. And that is just one equation. It should be a system of equations because we have two values, two variants, two variables that need to be solved, and we only have one equation. So that will pretty much give us a result that will say x is equals a certain amount plus something y related. So it will be depending, x will be depending on y and y will be depending on x, because we don't have enough information to actually solve it without ruling out either x or y, okay? But that's something math related. Just imagine doing math in English. I mean, we can do it. It's doable, but it's not nice. It wouldn't be nice at all. It isn't nice in Spanish, in our native language. It isn't nice in another language. Some people never think of it, but actually, whoever goes to the US without knowing the language very well and starts school over there, good Lord, May God help them. Just try to imagine not knowing a language and someone is actually giving you lessons about biology or chemistry or math in that language. Even worse if it is a completely different language without even the same alphabet like Chinese or Korean or whatever. It will be deaf. We have less than 1 minute before Zoom cuts me off, okay? Remember, 5 minutes and we start over. To finish this, you can write the C or O on each one. It's pretty easy, pretty simple to do, okay? For exercise E, it says work in pairs and take turns interviewing each other, blah, blah, blah. This one, again, is not going to be something we're going to be doing, okay? So ignore exercise E. For this thing to be goals, which is pretty much something for let's see, Jose, Gabriela, Sheridan. Okay. Carol. Okay, there we go. Share screen. Okay. Sorry, it took me a little bit longer, like a minute, to actually log. I was trying to solve something, and then Zoom was like just stuck at loading, so I had to reload everything. But we're back in business, like the saying goes, okay? Zoom updated. Oh, maybe that was the reason. And now it has this small note in here whenever I'm converting a recording. I mean, whenever I'm saving a recording, because it's not being converted yet. I need to convert it. But whatever, that was the update, just this small text, that was the update. It took like forever to do it because technology. So let's move on, okay? So where did we leave? Okay, I was at this part, I believe, goals, now I can. And you can answer this in a perfectly honest way if you would like to, like identify skills and personal qualities with 1, yes I can, 2, mostly yes, I mean more, I kind of can, and 3, no, I really can, not really. And ask and answer interview questions. So just 2 questions. They're mostly reflexive questions for yourselves to have them. That's pretty much it. Nothing to be doing in there, okay? With that being said, let's move on to page 29. And it says global voices. Let me see if let me try to remember. I don't remember if it was either this one or this one first. Let me check. I prepared this lesson like on Wednesday. I'm kind of forgetting a little bit of it by now. So be a little bit patient, sorry. The letter with phrases. No, this one isn't. Okay. Now this one is going to be for later, okay? And let me check. Okay. Escuela. There we go. Okay. Global voices. Page 29. Okay. Okay, now it actually gives the video files a name, like video 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Before that, before it updated, it was just Zoom 0, and I had to be very careful, and by memory or by instinct, I still changed the name of the file, because before that, it actually named everything Zoom 0, and whenever you saved the next file, it will overwrite the last one. So you will pretty much lose the last file when you save the new ones. So it was kind of a challenge to be checking on Zoom every now and then, but whatever. Global Voices, you're going to watch a video with Hannah Reyes Morales talking about her work as a photographer. Match her quotes A through E to 1 through 5. Then watch the video to check. Says practice, workshops and mentors, technical knowledge and creativity, sacrifices, advice to younger self. Having someone older and having somebody who's more experienced to ask you the right questions has always been important. I would say be all right with who you are, whatever, no? What are these? You need to complete this one with this one and this one with this one and so on, no? Pretty simple to do. But for that, we need to watch the video, okay? Let's see, how lengthy was it? 5 minutes and 26 seconds. It's going to take a little bit. I hope I don't have to repeat it because it's a little bit lengthy. It's not the longest video in the world. But in class time, 5 minutes when we're working in a virtual modality is kind of lengthy. It's taking 10 minutes if we had to repeat it. 11 minutes from the 40 minutes that Zoom is allowing us to do each session. Remember, after this session, we're going to be having a recess, okay? So let's...
Profe,
yes.
está yendo mi internet y viniendo por si me saca.
Ok, no se preocupe, Sharidan. A veces pasa. It happens, like the saying goes. No se preocupe, Sharidan. Para eso está la clase grabada también. Y voy a cambiar de español nomás para decirles eso. Acuérdense que si en algún momento falla el internet, falla la compu, lo que falle, puede pasar. Para eso la clase grabada. Porque yo sé que no es infalible la máquina. De hecho, ayer batallé mucho con mis alumnos de la universidad de la tarde porque yo estaba igual. Así como está usted, Chely, ahorita, el internet estaba como que se quedaba cargando y de repente no cargaba y al rato volvía a cargar tantito y le picas al Google y se queda cargando la imagen del Google así de a poquito. Y yo, no, ya vale gorro el internet. Y les dije a los plebes, ¿saben qué, plebes? Denme chance, a ver si compone el jugar clase grabada, les dije, porque ya me enfadó esta cosa, ya tenía como 5 o 10 minutos tratando de abrir el Zoom y se quedaba nomás ahí, así dando vueltas el navegador y cargando y cargando y cargando. De repente, pum, el sitio está dando demasiado a responder y recargar. Otra vez el sitio está dando demasiado a responder. Y no era nomás el Zoom, era todas las páginas estaban así, que sí que era el internet aquí. Al rato se compuso. Pero pues ni modo. Así pasa a veces. No se mortifiquen cuando pasa eso. Entonces, vamos a correr el video. Ya me quedé en español, pero we're going to be playing the video. Pay a lot of attention. In the case of Mariana, if it cuts off or it sounds weird or if it is not displaying correctly, don't worry about it. Again, that's what the recorded lesson is for. And obviously, in the recorded lesson, even if your internet is failing a lot, it's not going to be doing the same in the recorded lesson because it is recorded locally. So here it goes. Pay a lot of attention. Try to stay in a quiet environment. And here it goes.
Hi, my name is Hannah Reyes Morales, and I'm a National Geographic photographer and explorer. I'm from the Philippines, which is an archipelago of more than 7,000 islands. I was born and raised in its capital city, which is Manila. I think I was about 19 or 20 when I first started working as a photojournalist and eventually shifting more towards different kinds of photography. I was doing travel photography, I was doing weddings, I was covering events, anything to really help me scrape by for a living. And I remember I wanted to push more with my photography. I wanted to tell stories with images, and I didn't know how to do that yet. So I started having my work looked at by different people. I attended portfolio reviews, and I attended workshops, and I was given lots of really interesting advice during those times. The advice that I still follow a lot now, one of the photographers whose work I admire told me that I should read more. Another thing that I was told during one of these portfolio reviews and workshops is that when I was showing them all these images from, my travel portfolio and images that I had taken from the islands that I had visited in the Philippines, one of the reviewers told me that my photographs were just pretty, that they weren't doing more than being pretty and being beautiful photographs. And when I heard that, of course, it was a hard thing to hear when you put so much of your time and your hard work in trying to make your images beautiful and trying to make your images pleasing to a viewer. But it made me really question how I was telling stories with images and how I could do more. Today, I still value beauty, of course, and I still value the power of a beautiful frame. But I want to make sure that my images go beyond the beautiful and go beyond aesthetics. I want to make sure that the images really tell stories and really allow a viewer to have an understanding with something that they hadn't quite maybe thought about before. I started photography without having a lot of equipment. So I've always been a big believer in making do with what you have and working those tools to your advantage and understanding what their limitations are and what their strengths are as well. So I started with, very, very low quality equipment. I started with, very few megapixels in my camera. But I don't think that was necessarily a hindrance, because when I had limitations, I really learned to be resourceful and work with those limitations and learn how to do things a different way as well and be creative with the tools that I've been given. When I was starting out in photography, I had to be very resourceful in terms of how I sustained myself, in terms of how I earned a living. It was very challenging because there was not a steady paycheck that I could depend on and rely on. Of course, I had to really hustle. I had to work really hard. I was often working, several different jobs at a time. But I think that was a really good lesson for me, because I learned to work hard. I learned to work smart. What I wish I knew when I was younger was, I wish I accepted myself and my vantage point more. I wish I valued my own perspective. I wish I put more value in what I had to say and what I had to photograph. I spent a lot of time trying to make my pictures look like someone else's. But I think in the end, once I trusted my own voice and my own vision, that's really how I found my path. And I wish I'd known that sooner. I think I spent so long feeling like I didn't know if I had anything valuable to give. But now that I'm a photographer, I feel like there's so much that I can share and so much of myself that I can lend to others. And that's been an important part of my practice, not just, receiving help and receiving knowledge from other people, but also in turn, sort of making sure that you're passing on what you learn to others and passing on what you know about the world and about making images.
All right. Very well. Let's see what it says in here. Okay. Again, this is going to be on the recorded lesson, and you can watch the video again and again and again in case you need a repetition. Okay. So don't worry in case something cuts off, or you couldn't hear it because someone shouted, or I don't know if someone was making a lot of noise outside or whatever. So don't worry too much about it. That's what the recorded lesson is for. And with the recorded lesson, you're going to be obviously answering this question, okay? I mean, not with the recorded lesson, with the video. You can repeat it in case it is needed, okay? This is going to be part of your homework. In here it says, watch the video again and answer these questions in your notebook. Again, this is going to be part of your homework. I'm not going to be repeating the video because it's going to consume a lot of time and we need to move on with the lesson, okay? So exercise A and B from page 29 is going to be homework. And check this out. Let me move this over here. Exercise C. Work in pairs, obviously not in pairs because we have this whole COVID thing. I have been mentioning it over and over and over and over again. So ask and answer these questions about your current job or a job you would like to do in the future. I will hope that you still don't need to be working. I mean, you can work and you can do your job and everything, and it's going to be the meaning or taking anything away from you, but it's not ideal, okay? You should be studying right now. But if you need a job or want to have an extra income, you can do it. Nothing wrong with that, okay? So, first question, how much can you learn from other people for the job? How much can you learn from other people for the job? Depending on the job you are doing or you want to be doing, obviously, is going to be a different answer for each person. And what do you think you can learn from them? Let's pretend you are working, and this is just an example. You want to be working as a mechanic, okay? What kind of mechanic? Motorcycle, car, plane, whatever. You need to learn a lot of things from the mechanic in chief or whoever is at charge or knows a lot of things. Sometimes the person in charge is not the person that knows the most things at the job. So if you wanted to do or to be a mechanic, like car mechanic or a motorcycle mechanic, and you're not working for one of those huge chains like, I don't know, like the dealer itself or an AutoZone. I don't think AutoZone fixes stuff anymore. They're just lending you and selling you things. But this is an example, okay? Let's pretend you're working for a small repair shop at your city or at your town. The person in there, the mechanic, needs an assistant, and you're going to be working as his assistant for a bit. And from whatever he does, you're going to be learning things by watching him. And sometimes he's going to be telling you, hey, to change the oil in this car is kind of troublesome because the nut is really hidden behind it. And he's going to be giving you tips, and you're going to be learning a lot of things in there. So you can learn a lot of things from people at work. I learned a lot of things at that translator job, like over the phone. It wasn't easy or it wasn't nice, but I learned a lot of things after. So no job is wasted, no matter how bad or how, well, I can say the other word for it because it's kind of a bad word. No matter how really screwed up, I'm going to say that the job is. Second question, how much technical knowledge do you need and how creative do you need to be? Number 3, what kind of sacrifices do you need to make for the job? And number 4, what piece of advice do you think is important for this job? This is going to be like an exercise. It's a little bit lengthy, so again, I'm sorry for leaving you so much homework this time, sorry. Again, this is going to be like homework because it is a little bit lengthy to be doing it here in class, okay? But nothing that can't be solved. With that being said, I'm going to be closing this cover letter page because we're not going to be needing it anymore. There we go. And we will be moving to this page, which is page 12. It's going to be a lot of reading, and then we have these exercises in here, okay? So let's begin reading. Again, page 12. Let me give it a little bit of water because it's going to be a lot of reading. Shall we? Non-profit making a difference. Many people want to start their own non-profit organizations on issues they feel passionate about. It's an excellent way to give something back to the community. Yet, setting up your own non-profit isn't easy. It takes effort and determination. But those who have succeeded will tell you it's worth the hard work if you can make a difference in the world. One such person is the social activist and mountain bike enthusiast Marilyn Price. In 1988, Price founded Trips for Kids, an organization aimed at helping disadvantaged young people. The program invites people aged 10 through 17 years old to take part in trail rides in nature in order to give them a sense of independence and to become more active and environmentally aware. The project has grown from strength to strength and is now the largest cycling organization in the US. Trips for Kids gives many youngsters a chance to step outside their daily life, which for some may be life-changing. Chad Bernstein, or Bernstein, depending on the pronunciation, brings us another inspiring non-profit story. While studying music in college, Bernstein began to explore how music has the power to change lives. After graduating, he started Guitars Over Guns, a non-profit organization where teacher mentors give children exposure to music. Bernstein argues that all children should have the freedom to choose their own path in life, but that this can be hard for kids when they come from under-resourced backgrounds. At Guitars Over Guns, children don't just learn how to play an instrument, they acquire transferable skills that may help motivate them to choose a better path in the future. Adarsh Alphonse is an example of how mentors can inspire children. Expelled from school in India for doodling. Who the hell gets expelled for doodling? Apparently this person. Drawing when he should have been working. Alphonse's artistic talent was recognized by his art teacher. It was thanks to the encouragement of that teacher that Alphonse ended up painting for Nelson Mandela, Mother Teresa, and the Pope by the time he was 15. His community project Art, had humble beginnings. 9 years later, the project, now a non-profit, extended to 44 libraries across 8 cities and was working with 2,000 students and counting. But the mission hasn't changed. Project Art works to provide free after-school art classes for children who are deprived of art education. Alphonse knows the importance of giving underprivileged children the chance to explore their creativity. All 3 of these founders appreciate that children can learn so much through arts and sports. Thanks to the selfless work of non-profit organizations, more children are given the confidence to follow their dreams. All right, let's begin with the questions. Number 1, what is a non-profit organization? Think of this. Think it over for a second. write it down, and I'm going to be asking you in a little bit. Number 2, why do people start non-profit organizations? Number 3, what do Marilyn Price, Chad Bernstein, and Adarsh Alphonse have in common? And last one, name 2 non-profit organizations in your town or city. In our town or city, non-profit organizations, that's going to be tough. I mean, we have those ones, the classic ones that are helping people who have alcohol or drugs problems, and that's pretty much it. There's another one that helps. I think they help with people who have suffered with severe burning or something like that. I don't remember their name. I don't remember their name. They were at some really, really bad, really screwed up place in the city. I don't even remember where. I remember they were mentioned some time back, like months ago or a year ago or something. I don't remember where, but whatever. Let's try to do these questions. I'm going to be giving you like 5 minutes to answer them, these 4 questions. So it's 10:13 right now. We're going to be starting over at 10:18, and I'm going to be asking you what have you written, okay? So please begin doing that. All right, 10:18. It's time. Okay, first question. And I'm going to be asking again in the order you show up in the screen. Let me move it over here. So first one is going to be Jose. Second one, Gabriela, then Carol, and lastly, Sheridan. So, Jose, first question. What is a non-profit organization?
It's a kind of organization that usually is used to help communities.
Okay, very well answered, perfectly well answered, Jose. Depending on the person, the question, the answer, sorry, may vary a little bit less, a little bit more, but it is the same concept, okay? So perfectly well answered, Jose. Second question, Gabriela, why do people start non-profit organizations?
To solve problems and help others.
Exactly. Very well answered, Gabriela. To help others without the incentive of making months, like people in the USA, without making money. Theoretically, it should be like that. I'm going to be telling you this interesting piece of information. The Red Cross, is it non-profit? What do you think? Do you think the Red Cross is really a non-profit organization? It isn't. The Red Cross is actually a corporation. It is listed as one in the US. It has a chairman, a CEO, and high-rank positions. They have wages, and they have costs, and they make money. Oh yeah, the Red Cross is a company, and it's actually selling you healthcare and selling you whatever. And it's actually asking for donations. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're not doing their job and whatever, but they're not being honest about it. They're not telling us the entire truth. Why? Because if more people knew that, I'm pretty sure no one will be giving like donations or whatever. So next time you are actually giving donations, think about this fact. Someone is making a ton of money out of donations and out of those programs, like helping people and whatever. I'm not against them, but let's be objective. And here's another pearl of wisdom. When this whole COVID mess started, the Red Cross washed their hands and said, we're not a COVID hospital. We're not going to be dealing with COVID people. That's what they said. If you don't believe me, you can ask anyone in here or in any other city. So remember that next time you're going to make a contribution to their funds. Just to be fair. Number 3, and thank you, Gabriela, for your answer. Number 3, what do Marilyn Price, Chad Bernstein, and Adarsh Alphonse have in common, Carol?
They can inspire other people with their stories.
Exactly. Perfectly well answered, Carol. They did things most people don't dare doing, and they went beyond. And now they're inspirational people, okay? So thank you very much, Carol. And last one. And Sheridan, I hope your internet is better. Okay, Sheridan kind of disappeared. It was like that guy from the meme, no? That he just like does this and then just vanishes. Sadly, I'm sure Sheridan is still having trouble with the internet. I'm not at all convinced. I'm convinced that she is not disappearing because she's trying to run away or something. I'm pretty convinced she's not doing that. Because I know all of you by now, not on person, strange enough, but I kind of know the way you are. And I know she's not the kind to evade problems. So let's leave the last question like that. It's not going to be answered like in group, but that doesn't matter, okay? We have 4 minutes before Zoom cuts me off again, and we're close to the end. We're close to the end of the lesson. We just need to do these exercises, and I'm pretty sure we will be finishing maybe with another connection. I mean, obviously I can't finish all this in 4 minutes, but another connection I think should be enough. So we're going to be leaving a little bit early today, okay? I hope so. I hope so. I'm pretty sure we will, but we never know what's going to happen next, okay? I mean, no one can predict anything in the future. There are a lot of things that that could happen. They're not likely to happen, but could in theory. I mean, theoretically, I don't know, there could be an earthquake right now. Let's hope it doesn't happen. But there could be an earthquake, and then it could be so intense that it messes up the whole internet infrastructure, and then we wouldn't be able to continue. That's an example. No? Or, I don't know, something even more unlikely. At some point, maybe, I don't know, maybe aliens arrive and it's a huge mess and they kind of try to annihilate us like on the movies and so on. That's not going to happen. It's just an example, a really ridiculous, exaggerated example. I mean, maybe it could happen. I don't know. I mean, what was the name of that guy? I forgot his name. Whatever. This guy, I think he was a physicist or I think he was in some kind of universe kind of knowledge thing. I don't remember the name. I forgot entirely about it. Oh, I remember his name now, Stephen Hawking. Mr. Hawking said that it was very likely that there could be more life in the universe and that we shouldn't try to contact them because they will very likely try to do what we have been doing to other people, like the most advanced cultures try to dominate and enslave the less advanced one. So if for whatever reason aliens exist and we try to contact them, they're very likely going to try to enslave us. So don't. That's what Mr. Hawking said. And he was one of the smartest people who has lived. So exercise B, match the definitions to the words involved. Which words involved? These ones. We have passionate, determination, disadvantaged, environmentally aware. Environmentally aware. Very hard to pronounce, no? Transferable skills, underprivileged, and selfless. So definition of each word. People who have few financial and social opportunities. Number 1. Number 2, being conscious of how to protect the planet. Number 3, doing something without hope of personal gain. Number 4, a strong commitment to achieving a goal. 5, acquired abilities that can be used in other contexts. And number 6, enthusiastic. So when we return from this small break, from the recess, we're going to be checking on these definitions, okay? So just a few seconds away from recess. Again, we're going to be starting over at 11 Okay. Carola. Okay, welcome back, Gabriela. Welcome back, Carol. I think I saw Marian try to log in during the recess or at the very beginning of the recess. Because Zoom is like, it's a snitch, in lack of a better term. And it's always telling everyone about everything, including me. So it was like, hey, Marian tried to log in and I was like having breakfast and I was like, what? Because it was such a random time to log in. It's the recess time at the very beginning, but it happens, okay? So let's move on. Carrying on. Okay. The definitions. Let's make a few questions, okay? Just 3 of them in order. We have Gabriela first this time, then Carol, and Jose at the end. Okay, so number 1, people who have few financial and social opportunities. What would the word for that be, Gabriela?
Disadvantage and underprivileged.
Disadvantage and underprivileged. It could be either of them, right? Perfectly well answered, Gabriela. And we're going to be making like random questions, okay? They're not going to be in order. So don't panic in case you see, I ask you, for example, Carol, number 4, a strong commitment to achieving a goal. What would it be?
Environmentally.
Environmentally. Let me see. A strong commitment to achieving a goal. Determination, passionate, disadvantage, environmentally aware. Environmentally aware is more like, I'm not going to say it in Spanish. Eso sería como consciente del medio ambiente o medioambientalmente consciente se traduciría. Eso es más como cuidar el planeta, salvar los árboles, todos. Eso sería más el environmentally aware. Transferable skills, underprivileged, selfless. That one is a little bit strange. A strong commitment to achieving a goal. But sadly, that is not the answer in this case, Carol. It could be another one. So let's redo that one, okay? Don't worry about it. And last one for Jose. Number 2, being conscious of how to protect the planet.
Environmentally aware.
That will be environmentally aware, okay? Perfectly well answered. That will be number 2. Number 4, Carol, I think maybe, okay, I know what happened. Maybe Carol heard or misheard because of the bad audio, bad connection or whatever. Maybe that we were asking number 2, we were asking number 4, Carol. So don't worry about it, okay? Sometimes technology can backstab us. So don't worry about it, nothing wrong with that. So exercise C, read again, check the correct column. It says in here, trips for kids, guitars over guns, and project art. The names of the 3 non-profit organizations, okay? It says in here, Chad Bernstein set it up. I mean, Chad Bernstein founded it. Which one? You're going to obviously check the correct answer. It encourages children to get active. Pausing here. It could happen, and it will happen at some point, that there is more than one correct answer. For example, it encourages children to get active. A lot of them get children active, if not all of them. I'm not going to say which ones do and which ones don't, because it will be giving you away the answer. But think it over. There could be 2 or more of them as an answer. Like You will need to check 2 or 3, maybe, just maybe. Number 3, it offers classes in libraries across the country. 4, it lets children be creative. 5, it helps children feel more independent. And last one, its founder was forced to leave school. This one is going to be part of the homework, okay? And last exercise, this letter, they write a cover letter, apply for a job. Again, this write a cover letter is not going to be done. It was asked already in page 28 or 29, either of them. So just imagine I'm let's say, I'm just another teacher that does everything by the book and just follows instructions blindly and doesn't have criteria. I will ask you to do the same things over and over again, even if it is repetitive, monotone, lame at some point. But I will be doing everything by the book. Don't do everything by the book. Never. Don't always follow orders. Obviously, there will be occasions when you need to follow orders, but not always, not your entire life. Don't do that. That's boring. That's, I don't know, you need to have like no personality, maybe be dead inside or something to be following orders all of your life and never actually doing anything by yourself. So try to think more for yourself. That's what I do. That's why I'm making you do some exercises. Some don't. Some of them I change it sometimes and so on. No? So for this one, complete the letter with phrases A through H. A through H are these ones. I have experience, I'm available for, dear Mrs. Wright, etc. Number 1, we have an opening here. Obviously, the opening is pretty obvious, even if it sounds redundant. How would you open a letter? You always open letters. Well, back in the day when letters were more common. These days are more like emails and something like a formal thing. They're more like emails. Very, 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 very rarely someone writes a physical letter. Almost no one does that anymore. Why? Because the mail is slow as all hell. No one wants to wait 2 weeks for a response. I mean, to get a letter, and or to get a response. That's a month wasted in waiting time. When you can just take the laptop and write someone like, hey, you know what, we need to meet because we have, I don't know, we have a crisis at school and whatever. No one is going to, a crisis is not going to be waiting for you 1 month. So it needs to be something fast. That's why telephone was born, okay? And from then on, technology evolved, so on and so on and so on. So what will be the phrase to open a letter? And here I'm going to be giving you a white answer because it's pretty easy. Dear Mr. or Mrs. whatever, in this case, dear Mrs. Wright. That's the opening for most, if not all, letters in English. Dear Ini, dear Miney, dear Mo. Number 2, I don't know which one of these should be in that place. Number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. The advertisement for the position of camp counselor on your website. I am currently studying education and I'm looking to gain further experience working with children over the summer vacation. I consider myself energetic and enthusiastic. I love outdoor sports and I sing and play the guitar. I enjoy working with children. In the past, I have worked as a regular babysitter I didn't see the period, sorry. In this job, reliable and patient with young children. I also help out with after-school clubs at a local school. So, designing creative, fun activities for children of different ages. An interview in person or over the phone, and I will be able to start work in July. a copy of my resume, whatever you want to call it, which provides more details of my qualifications, skills, and experience. It contains my contact details and those of 2 people willing to provide references. Hearing from you, Marta Hernandez. Okay. So last part of your homework will be to fill out that letter with these phrases. Okay. That will be pretty much everything for today. I told you we're going to be leaving a little bit early. It's the last lesson of this level. So we're going to be having a small recess, which means that next Saturday, unless we're told otherwise, it's going to be free. We're not going to be having a lesson next Saturday, which is the 27th. And we're going to start the 8th level on December 4th. Remember, you have to re-enroll. I mean, reinscribirse o inscribirse en Spanish. Tienen que inscribirse, voy a cambiar a español, tienen que inscribirse para el próximo trimestre. No se les vaya a pasar eso, es muy importante. No se inscriben, pierden trimestre. No se inscriben, pierden trimestre. Y acuérdense, ya vamos a empezar con clases presenciales, gracias a Dios. Ya vamos a empezar a ir a la escuela. No estoy seguro, creo que estaba queriendo ir a la prepa, ¿eh? O sea, no al centro de idiomas, sino a la prepa. Creo que por ahí iba. No sé si lo irán a dejar así, si lo van a cambiar al centro de idiomas. Puede que cambie. Igual a donde nos hagan ir, sigue siendo mejor. Incluso si nos hacen ir al Tecomate, allá para el lado, Sinaloa, Leiva, o Caimanero, o a donde sea. A cualquier parte es mejor ir que seguir en modalidad virtual, ¿verdad? Entonces, eso sería todo por hoy, jóvenes. No les pase la tarea que entregar el día de mañana, si Dios quiere, más tardar mediodía. Y nos veríamos ya no este próximo sábado, sino hasta el que viene, ¿no? Hasta el día 4 de diciembre. Espero verlos en el próximo trimestre. Ya tengo sus exámenes, los estoy evaluando. Y nos veríamos, si Dios quiere, dentro de poco, unas 2 semanas. Siguen cuidándose. Ya ahora sí nos vamos a ver en físico para hacer que ya se le ve el final a esto. Y pásenla bien, pues cuídense.